From the outside, the house looked calm and beautiful, with white walls, a green lawn, and tall city buildings visible in the distance, giving everyone the impression of peace and stability. But inside those walls, silence was heavy and suffocating rather than comforting. Aliyah entered the house and shut the door forcefully behind her, her breath uneven and her hands trembling with frustration that had been building for days. Sitting on the sofa was Zarina Begum, her elderly mother-in-law, 70 years old, frail in body but still sharp in words. Without even looking up, she questioned Aliyah for coming home late again, implying irresponsibility rather than concern. It was only one sentence, but for Aliyah, it felt like the final blow after years of emotional pressure. She shouted back, saying she had worked all day, but Zarina calmly reminded her that she too had lived a long life and would not accept excuses. This was the moment when the argument could have ended, but in that house, arguments never truly ended. They only deepened. Aliyah's husband, Fahad, remained silent in the kitchen as he always did, using silence as his shield, a silence that hurt more than words. Aliyah stepped forward, demanding to know why she was constantly criticized, why every effort she made was met with taunts and disrespect. Zarina stood up slowly, weak yet proud, and declared that the house belonged to her and that Aliyah was merely a guest. That single word shattered something inside Aliyah, because she had left her own mother, sacrificed her comfort, and tried to make this house her home, only to be reminded again and again that she did not belong. When Aliyah shouted that she was not a guest but a daughter-in-law, Zarina replied coldly that a daughter-in-law was not a daughter and never would be. In that moment, years of suppressed anger, humiliation, and emotional neglect exploded. Aliyah raised her hand. There was a brief, terrifying pause, and then the sound of a slap echoed through the room. Zarina stumbled, crying out not only in pain but in disbelief and shame. Fahad rushed in, horrified, asking what Aliyah had done as he held his mother, whose hands trembled and eyes filled with tears that reflected not just physical pain, but complete emotional defeat. Aliyah stood frozen, unable to believe that the hand which had struck was her own, struggling to speak as fear and regret replaced her anger. Zarina looked at her silently and whispered that she had never imagined seeing such a day, that in her own home she would be struck by her own daughter-in-law, and the sentence remained unfinished, hanging heavily in the air. The room fell silent again, but this silence screamed louder than before. Aliyah collapsed emotionally, crying that she never wanted things to go this far, that she only wanted to be heard, while Fahad finally raised his voice, saying that violence was never the answer, neither for Aliyah nor for his mother. That night, no one slept. Zarina sat alone in her room, Aliyah cried on the kitchen floor, and Fahad remained trapped between them, just as he always had been. By morning, the house looked the same, the walls unchanged, but every corner carried an unspoken question. When voices are ignored and dignity is denied, does anger turn into violence? And if it does, who truly pays the price?